Woo! Alright, hey Barry, how you been? Hi guys, sorry I didn't put out a video yesterday, but I found this eternal pose to Wano just sitting in a bush outside my house. I don't know, maybe the alien squirrels left it there or whatever. So I decided to take a little bit of a vacation day, right? And it was a perfect time of year to go and visit Wano, alright? I got there at Onigashima right in time for the fire festival, right before things got too intense, okay? So I got out of there right around the time the samurai showed up. But, you know, I recommend it if they still have one next year to go check out the Fire Fest. It's great. You know, you could say whatever you want about the Beast Pirates, you know, obeying Kaido, trying to take over the world, trying to make like a pirate paradise or whatever, but they know how to party, right? Queen gave me this awesome gift bag. Let's see. We got a food chopper. That's good. Oh, this is awesome. An official Onigashima iPad. Yeah, that's a thing. A nice Campbell's soup mug to make your soups. Sasaki has his own line of toy Triceratopses. Triceratopsy, whatever. Let's see, we got a deck of many things. We got mini M&Ms. Oh, and a pack of Pokemon cards with a Score Bunny, of course, right? So yeah, great time, fantastic. That's the Fire Festival for you. Okay, so this will be talking about the new episode of One Piece, episode 982. I know, right? Megumi Ishitani brings it again, alright? She was the same director of episode 957, the episode with the really cool, like, cinematic, like, angles that looked like a One Piece movie, right? With all of the warlords being attacked by the Marines, like the warlord system was abolished, okay? I'm telling you what, Megumi Ishitani, she is the future of One Piece animation, okay? If there's, I probably said this in the last episode she directed, but if there's ever, like, a One Piece movie that's gonna be in the works in the next few months, you know, she has to be attached to direct it. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, okay? It really does feel like you're watching a freaking movie while, you know, this episode is going on. And they add extra stuff to it. Stuff that doesn't even need to be added, but it adds a lot more flavor for the entire, you know, scope of the story, right? So, for example, this episode, the standout thing, there was a lot of really cool stuff. We get to see a sneak preview of Yamato. We get introduced to the Tobi Roppo, and the lighting is really cool when the Tobi Roppo are walking in. So those are really cool scenes, but the standout moment that probably everybody is going to remember is the presented by Onigashima, the Golden Kagura, like, it's like a rave. It's awesome. It's like a freaking music video, right? Like, that came out of left field. I didn't think that was going to happen. And the entire time I'm reading the manga, because there's going to be a disconnect inherently. Whenever Oda introduces music into the manga, it's like, okay, that's like there's music playing and everything like that. It's like a crazy party at Onigashima. But it isn't until the anime happens that you really get the full effect. The same thing happened back at Tauntland when the Germa Double Six, they went into their raid suits at the tea party, and there was like their theme song playing in the background. And I remember reading it in the manga, and all I really was thinking is like, man, I can't wait until this is in the anime so I can actually hear this song and see the animation of like them like transforming into Power Rangers and everything like that. And that really fulfilled that scratched that itch, so to speak, when we finally got to that moment in the anime. But with the Golden Kagura, I just thought it was going to be like, okay, there's a big giant festival hall on Onigashima, and there's going to be some lights and, you know, spotlights and everything, and the whole festival hall is filled to the brim with the Beast Pirates all cheering, and then Queen comes out and he starts, you know, dancing and singing and everything like that. But, like, the juxtapositioning of, like, this feudal Japan architecture, because, you know, it was still built by, you know, the carpenter from Wano, okay? So Kaido's manor is like a pagoda and has the towers and everything. That juxtaposed with like rave lights and the spotlights of a more like modern era, it's like an anachronism, but I love it, right? It fits so well. They have the giant spotlight of like Queen's logo, and then laser lights, and then freaking explosions, and then, you know, freaking Apu as the DJ, he does a great job, and then freaking Queen pops out, and he kind of does his same song he did at the prison, which makes me think he was just warming up then. Like, he's been working on this dance number, he's been working on his song for like weeks and weeks now for the Golden Kagura. Like, this is his moment. This is like the moment every year that Queen lives for, where he gives his big bombastic, you know, performance and whatnot. So I can imagine when Queen first arrived at the Udon prison and he did his song, he was like, all right, everybody, I know you love me. I'm Queen the Plague. You know, I'm going to be performing live at the Golden Kagura at the Fire Festival in a couple of weeks. I have a new song for everybody. Here's a sneak preview. And he's like, Zuma, 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 Zuma. And so we kind of get the full song of what it is now, okay? And we got it in the manga too, but in the anime, it's just so much fun. Just the animation of like the different, because they're like combining the technology of One Piece. You could tell that like real care went into this, because you can imagine they're sitting around like, okay, how are we gonna do this music video thing? Like, do they even have strobe lights and like lasers in the One Piece world? And it's like, well, they have the Den Den Mushi, so there's this whole scene with like, there's like a big row of Den Den Mushi that all like stare down, so like they're the spotlights, and they're also recording stuff. We see the first-person perspective of like a found footage movie of a Den Den Mushi, like what it looks like from their perspective. Okay, I gotta be honest with you right now. That might be a contender for my favorite moment in all of the One Piece anime. Alright, because it answers and simultaneously brings up so many questions about, like, Den Den Mushi. Like, is this how a Den Den Mushi sees the world? Like, through a freaking camera screen? That's great. It has a little battery monitor shaped like a snail on the top left. That's great. And you might be thinking, like, wait a second, do Den Den Mushi, do they take batteries? Do you plug a Den Den Mushi into the wall? No, no, no. They're actual animals, which means that Den Den Mushi constantly, wherever they are in the world, see a little symbol in the top left of their vision, letting them know how, like, you know, how close they are to starving to death, I guess. Like, oh man, my energy's a little low. I need to eat something, right? So that would be a handy little thing to have. He's just like, hey, you just pull it up and be like, okay, how's my health going? Oh, okay, I'm only at 20%. I should probably eat, you know? So that brings up so many questions, but I love the artistic choice of doing that. It's great. And so, oh, while all that's going on, by the way, while the crowd is just going crazy over Queen and he's doing his big introductions for the waiters, the pleasures, the gifters, the headliners. Apu's in there too. They're doing like a cool like duet sort of deal. That's really neat. And you also get to see some of the headliners we haven't been introduced to yet, like Fortrix and Hamlet. They're there as well. That's really neat. And then meanwhile, you see King off to the side. King's in like a side room, like on one of the balconies, and in the background there's this big rave going on, explosions, crowd is cheering, Queen's like, Zuma, 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 and King's just like rolls his eyes like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, you can tell King, like, this is not his scene. This is not, like, how he, like, parties. You don't want to know how King parties. Do you want to know how King parties? You don't want to know how King parties. But he kind of just rolls his eyes like, alright, I guess it's the one day a year where everybody can have fun, and he seems like the crowd seems to love it, and this is like his big moment. So even though King and Queen don't really get along, they're not really good friends, they're more just like associates. Like, they're both members of the All-Stars, they know how strong each one is. I like to think King is like, alright, he's kind of an idiot, but this is his moment. I'm not gonna be part of this, but I'm not gonna take it away from him. So King just kind of like rolls his eyes and then walks down the hallway. Like, I love that scene. It's great. Oh my god. So yeah, the music video, the Golden Kagura music video, like 10 out of 10, magnifique. And I hope we get a lot more stuff like that as we continue with Onigashima. What a way to kick off this war, right? And, you know, like, everything up until now has been just pretty much like a prelude, like Kanjuro revealing himself as the traitor, and, you know, Luffy and Lawn Kid arriving and destroying one of the warships, Kyoshiro or Denjiro slashing up another warship, Jinbei's arrival, destroying the last one, you know, and in this episode, we get to see them taking on the Torii Gate, you know, that little fortress that's kind of like in front of Onigashima as, like, the guard post. We see the Straw Hats just decimate that. By the way, it's way more brutal in this episode. In the manga, it's just like the Straw Hats were there, and it's like, you know, Kinemon and everybody are like, man, it's gonna be really difficult to get through this freaking Torii Gate, you know, it's a fortress, basically, and just boom, you just look off to the side, and the Straw Hats have already defeated everybody there. Zoro's got the booze. It's basically done in, like, one double-page spread. But in this episode, they go freaking crazy with it. Like, you can tell the Straw Hats have been, like, itching for a fight for a while. Luffy in particular. Luffy's like, man, I've been training for this for weeks and weeks. I've been in prison. prison. It sucked, but I got some new skills. I got my Ryuo. I'm ready to face Kaido, and so I'm gonna start knocking at his front door, right? Luffy, like, you know, the Straw Hats individually, like, devastate the fortress. Luffy kind of goes overkill with it. Like, he didn't even really need to do this, but he jumps up in the sky and uses Red Hawk and then just, like, lights the whole place up. But it's not even like regular Red Hawk. It's like a red meteorite that Luffy like summons. Like he combined Gear 3rd with Red Hawk and then boom, it just blows up the entire fortress. You know, I really feel bad for those guards. I really do, because they're just chilling out, you know, drinking booze or whatever. It's like, you know, Orochi took out all of the samurai, you know, the Straw Hats ship got destroyed. You know, it's probably going to be a really easy night. Sucks we can't be at the festival, but whatever. And then all of a sudden Luffy jumps into the sky, like, what's that comet coming right? Oh God! They just get lit on fire. Oh my god, the scenes, just the animation when you see Onigashima, because they're getting progressively closer to Onigashima, and the festival is inside of the skull, right? So all that crazy stuff, like the strobe lights and the lights from the festival, are illuminating the eyes of Onigashima, the skull. And so you just see a scene where it's like outside, and Luffy like looks up and he smiles, and you can see the light in the background as the skull's getting closer. All the while, you know, the waves, the wind, the storm is still going on. I mean, like, I cannot accurately describe. It gets very difficult, and this is why I don't do, like, episode reviews all the time. It gets kind of difficult for me to, like, sum up exactly how cool the animation is. So go watch it yourself, absolutely. So yeah, the music video is incredible. I could probably just make a whole video, like, deconstructing that, like, going, like, frame by frame, and maybe I will, but I have to talk about some other stuff in the episode. So we do get Yamato's first appearance. This does not happen until much later in the manga. Not much later, but like at this scene in the manga, it was just Kaido asking his subordinates to find Yamato. It's like, where's my son? You know, Big Mom's going to be here. Yamato needs to make an appearance. And so they go, you know, looking for Yamato. And here in the anime, we get to see a brief scene with Yamato outside with the mask still on, and then just breaking through a boulder. And so that's like the first introduction we get. And I kind of like that because that gives some, you know, setup, because Yamato has never been mentioned up until this point in the manga or the anime. The first time we even know about Yamato's existence is during the beginning of Onigashima, right? Which makes sense given the fact that Yamato was like locked away by Kaido on Onigashima, so that makes sense. But still, it was really cool to get this first appearance of Yamato in the anime. You know, and we already saw him during the opening and everything a little bit in kind of like silhouette, but it's really cool to see this here. So then we get the Tobiropo, alright? The Tobiropo's introduction is phenomenal. Alright, so first, we get them walking down a hallway, and so as they're walking down the hallway, though, some of them are, like, really huge. Like, Black Maria is, like, I think about as tall as Big Mom. You know, Who's Who, Sasaki, they're really big. So you get them walking down the hallway, and we just see, like, the random, like, guards of the Beast Pirates being very scared as, like, you know, here come the Tobiropo, here like the strongest members right after the All-Stars and everything. And so you just see their shadows walking down this hallway that's like dimly lit, and like Who's Who and Sasaki and Black Maria, they kind of have to like hunch down as they walk through this freaking hallway. It just makes them look more like monsters, you know what I mean? Like, it's like terrifying from like a random guard that just got hired from the Beast Pirates or whatever. He's like, man, these people are scary, you know? So they finally have their meeting, and it's all very like red lighting in the background. Like Drake lights a lantern. It's like they're only illuminated a little bit, and so you get to see Ulti and Page One's little dynamic there. You know, Black Maria's personality, Drake's there. Who's Who is just kind of like, so if Queen were to die, just you know, just hypothetically now, if Queen were to die, who would take over, right? And you know, then finally all the lights kick up, and you see all of them in full view. Looks amazing, and Ulti's just like, so Kaido gathered us together to talk about Yamato again, huh? And they're all like, yeah, but you can't say that. And then Ulti, being Ulti, is just like, Kaido's an idiot. It's like, what? No! And so that was a funny scene there. But just, once again, like, in the manga, I feel like that was really well done with them. Like, you don't get to see them all at first. You just get to see their feet, like, walking toward the meeting hall. And then they sit down, and you get that double-page spread. But, like, lighting goes a really long way. Lighting and shadow and, like, you know, like, you just get to see a little brief, you know, glimpse of each of them before they make their proper introduction. It takes a while. It builds. You know, that's the word I'm looking for. It builds. You get to see see their shadows, and then you get to see a little bit of each of their features, and then you get to see their full bodies, but it's bathed in this red light, so you can't really get like an idea for what they really look like. And then boom, the lights kick on, and that's the finale of the episode. You get to see who they really are, and that's great. Okay, so the final scene though are the Straw Hats still hanging out at the fortress. Zoro found a big bucket of booze, and it's like, all right, let's have a toast. And so they all have their mugs, their barrel mugs, and everything. But meanwhile, you know, Kinemon and the others, I mean, they're very grateful for the Straw Hats for just obliterating the fortress, but they're not going to stop. They got to keep going. And so they're like, charge to Onigashima! And then you have a scene. My God, tell me this doesn't look like movie material right here. This is what it does. After this arc is over, you know how movie 8, the Alabasta movie, was just like a compressed, like abridged version of Alabasta, just with like better animation? If they could do that with the Onigashima War, holy shit, I would see that, right? Even if it was nothing new, even if it was just like, okay, we're adapting the war at Onigashima into a 2-hour movie, you know, with really good animation the entire way through, I'd be like, okay, I'm there. I'm flying to Japan. You know, here we go, right? That kind of needs to happen, because this war at Wano, it's going to be amazing. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they could just do a whole other movie, like readapting Marineford, you know, like have like compress all of Marineford down in like one movie with like really good animation. It's been like over 10 years since Marineford in the anime. I think that they could do that. It would look incredible, right? I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't yet. But yeah, all of the samurai are dedicated to this charge, and then we get another difference from the manga where we see the spirit, or like the image of Kozuki Oden's back as he's like running toward Onigashima, as like he's the one that they're following, okay? Which in a sense they are. They're following his will. They're following his dream of opening up the country of Wano and finally defeating Orochi and Kaido. They're finally here. This is the moment, 20 years in the making. Some had to wait the entire time. Some had magical time jump back to the future powers. But they're all here right now, and they're all heading toward Onigashima at the back of Oden as he's just charging forth in that goofy kind of way that Oden always ran. But it's a great like added flourish to the episode. And Luffy kind of witnesses this, and I don't know if like Luffy can also see like the spirit of Oden or whatever, but Luffy puts down his mug before they do the toast, and he's like, you know what, everybody, we should do this with them afterwards. We should throw the biggest damn banquet. This is going to be the biggest fight of our lives. You know, we've all been in some pretty crazy situations, but I think this right here, we're taking down a damn Yonko. 2 Yonko, actually, and we're gonna be fighting against this whole crew, giant skull mountain, an army of samurai fighting alongside us. This is gonna be the best war we've ever had until we find the One Piece. But until then, this is gonna be it. We should wait until after this is over. I want you guys to understand something. This battle at Onigashima is going to be the second most intense war in all of One Piece. This is the penultimate one, because after this arc is over that Oda has been building to since Punk Hazard, which is almost also 10 years ago already. I think like 2011, 2012 is when Punk Hazard started. We got introduced to Kinemon and this whole plot thread and everything like that. After this is over, I think Oda, he's gonna keep it rolling. He's not gonna be like, okay, well that was Wano, now the end of the story will be another 10 years to kind of cool off. No, it's still gonna be like kind of back to back. We're gonna have some arcs in between, but I want you to understand, like, this is gonna be this, and then there's gonna be some big epic final war of One Piece, and that's gonna be all. So the way this is probably going to go is Marineford is like the bronze, this battle at Onigashima with Kaido and Big Mom and all these Yonko is going to be the silver medal, and the gold medal is going to be the battle at Laugh Tale, the throne wars with everybody involved. Yonko, Marines, world government, revolutionaries maybe, everybody together, all the supernovas there. That's what this is going to be, okay? And so I can't think of a better way to kick it off than with this episode. Everybody involved in the animation department, Megumi Ishitani, who was the director, fantastic job. You know, it's not going to be every single episode we're going to get this level of craziness, but, you know, when we get the chapters where, like, the supernovas are going to go up against Kaido and Big Mom together, I really hope this animation happens there. You know, whenever Luffy goes back to fight against Kaido for like the second or third time. I wish it would be there as well. Like at the key points during this battle, this animation is definitely warranted, and this is certainly a place where it fits. And so the episode ends as a shot with all of the barrels of booze as the Straw Hats leave the fortress, get on the Sunny, and follow the samurai into pitched combat. Jinbei also has a moment where he's like, you already know what I think, let's go! And so Jinbei's like, you know, already a member of the crew, he's joking around with everybody. They all know how kind of random Luffy could be, but they would have it no other way. Absolutely amazing. So go check out the episode yourself if you haven't. If you already have and you're watching this, go back and watch it again, because I've seen it like 3 times already, and it keeps getting better every single time I watch it, right? Well, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah, so maybe if you could find yourself your own eternal pose to Wano, head on out. I don't know if the Fire Festival is still going on. It might be kind of insane right now, but yeah. Oh, we gotta do ant facts. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, I do have one, although this ant fact is a little bit different. So, I've thrown around the idea of not just talking about ant species, but ant-related media, because it exists. And so the Chimera ants from Hunter x Hunter are definitely one that I want to talk about at some point. I could honestly do like a whole video on ant facts about that. But no, today I wanted to talk about my favorite ant movie. Now, during, like, I would say the 50s to the 70s, you had a lot of these, like, Silver Age B movies that featured a lot of, like, you know, either insects or animals either becoming giant-sized and attacking, you know, towns, or just, like, regular, like, Kingdom of the Spiders, you know, William Shatner's actually in that one, where, like, spiders take over a town or whatever. I kind of like those movies, you know, the idea of, like, nature or, like, insects or spiders, like, attacking you, right? And so my favorite out of that group is a movie from, I believe, 1974. I might be a little bit off on the year, called Phase 4. Here's the poster for it. Looks really metal, right? Like a freaking ant crawling out of somebody's hand. It was directed by Saul Bass. He passed away in 1998, but he was a really prominent graphic designer. So he was a filmmaker, but his real thing was like graphic design and coming up with like intros and like title screens for movies. He designed the Shining movie poster, although I believe it was originally red when he designed it. Stanley Kubrick changed it to yellow. But he worked with like a lot of famous people back in the day, like Alfred Hitchcock, you know, Stanley Kubrick and everything, right? And this is his like one movie that he actually directed was Phase 4. And, you know, to this day, I really do not understand how he got the ants in this movie to do the things that they do, because this is not with CG, which makes it so much more impressive. The ants do certain things in this movie that they had to use like certain methods like pheromones to get them to go over here or do over that. But like the ants seem like trained. And it's crazy because they're real ants. They're not like fake ants or like CG or puppets or whatever. They're real ants, and they're getting them to like walk in a straight line over here. There's a scene in the movie where ants make a raft and then they drift over a trench. It's like, how do you get, like, okay, ant, action, you know? Like, how do you get them to do that? I don't know. The plot of the movie, it's very psychedelic, it's very trippy, it's the 70s, so, you know, drugs, it makes sense. But the plot of the movie is some kind of cosmic event happens in the sky, and all humanity is kind of like really excited, like, ooh, what's this cosmic event gonna be? Like, the planets are aligning, you know, the moon and Venus and everything, some kind of cosmic event, and it happens, and nothing seems to change. And so humans are like, oh, okay, I guess it was just a pretty little cosmic event, whatever, moving along with the rest of our lives. The one thing that changed in this cosmic event is that all ant species all over the world gained super intelligence. And slowly but surely, they start to take over the world, they start to build their own structures, they start to challenge humans, and the main characters of the movie are these two scientists that are kind of like the first people that are really noticing that there's something up with these ants. Like, ants are now using, like, ambush tactics to take out, like, their normal predators, like spiders and, like, you know, praying mantis and stuff. It is such a trippy movie to watch. The ending is really genuinely trippy. Like, someone was on acid when they came up with the ending of it, and it's one of those endings where I'm not even sure it's supposed to make sense, but go check it out if you can. Phase 4, literally Phase IV is the name of the movie. Thanks for watching. That has been Ant Facts for the day. Signing out. And Barry later. What else do we have in here? Oh, cool. We got a cool Code of the Samurai book. Man, these pirates are cool.